Yeah, much like these reviews, I kind of came a long way from, like, just semi-satanic desks. Anyway, hey everybody, what's up? This is Retro K Reviews. Literally just coming back from seeing Creed 3. I know I'm a bit of a week behind, but yeah, number one in the box office with, like, I think the top grosser for the Creed series at all. Yeah, I kind of maybe want to try this in the midweek. Anyway, that being said, big March, big reviews. I left a Tumblr poll for most of the reviews I'm going to be going through, and apparently between Scream 6 and the new Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie, y'all want me to sit through that the most as far as my Tumblr followers go. So anyway, follow me on Tumblr for that, developing a story as far as my follower base goes there. More channel news stuff. Holy shit. Critical Role's 58th episode of Campaign 3 was amazing. With the spoilers out of the way, 3, 2. Yeah, Campaign 2 characters came back, and that is the most I'll say spoilers-wise. Again, like I said, go to my shore for my live reaction after the episode aired. It's still a lot to process, and the 8th anniversary is next week. So with the pleasantries out of the way, let me get to my thoughts for the Creed series as a whole. The only time I've actually done a proper review of the first two movies was, I think, as a standard review during double review season of 2018 when it comes to Creed 2's case. Right now, for my thoughts on the first movie, Ryan Coogler was a great director for it. Sly knew what he was doing, bringing this character back to life and being a trainer for Adonis Creed, now famous by Michael B. Jordan. And yeah, to say Sly has a weird history of sort of stop-starting this third entry of the series. For those who want to look into the news, go ahead yourself. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why Rocky himself isn't showing up last minute for like a post-credit cameo or something like that. Like he, I guess, did with his son from Balboa, who was, I knew from Heroes, but I know it was in This Is Us for a long time. Speaking of, I didn't think, well, one, I wasn't expecting a Sterling K. Brown cameo for that was going to be the case going forward for Sly's direction for the franchise, but I don't really know. Casting wise, as far as this franchise goes, my history with the Rocky series, since we're here, I loved every single other entry of the franchise. No, I'm not gonna be that guy that likes 5 out of like pure nostalgia, like it's the one I grew up with kind of vibe. No. I know 5 was bad. Spittle take if that was taken aside. If those were worried that Creed 3 was acting a little like that, and Jonathan Majors is Damien had that big, like, Club Roaring Part 3 energy, you get a little bit of both. You get, mostly in, Adonis's and in, B's case, Michael B's case, his character just feels like he's winding down his career, wants to, like, quietly retire, probably do some sports casting like some, athletes tend to do in the modern day. And I could kind of see it probably in the next entry, most likely to see that kind of struggle, knowing that people are going to bait him online or bait him on the air and try to get him to do it again. Kind of like what 3 was trying to be, like, in Rocky 3's OG's case. Like, oh, here's Lang trying to, like, bully you out of retirement just to say you got one more in you kind of vibe. And there were moments where that was kind of a thing. This is the non-spoiler section in case anyone's wondering. I will get into the fight itself. The fight itself is been compared to a lot of anime, mostly because Michael B. Jordan, who is the first time directing into this, but has been around in the franchise long enough to know what he's getting himself into as far as his direction of Adonis goes. Anyway, Tessa Thompson coming back as Bianca is awesome. She's been a love interest since day one, now married character-wise to Adonis. And I'm very happy to say, for those who are accessibility or people who speak in ASL, as much as I would love to sign, they got you. They definitely got you with this one. They did a great representation for their kid, who I think is first time acting. Let me get a quick check on Mela Davis Kent, if I got her name right. Yeah, from what I've seen so far with her, use of ASL is definitely on par, very accurate to people who live with ASL. So that being also said, let's get to Jonathan Majors. Holy shit, we kind of go through not of Rocky's past anymore, since they've said those stories long enough, even in the main sequels that he was attached to. Here it's definitely all about Donnie, how he was like in between like the foster years going into Creed 1 story. And yeah, you could tell there were some missing pieces with that. Not on a writing level, but like in a Fast 9, sorry, F9, like here's your brother all along kind of thing. It's not very soap opera than you think it is. But when you see Jonathan Majors just go to work on, like, I'm not kidding here, they actually brought hang on, Drago's kid back. Sorry, I'm I'm still trying to work with second screen here for those who are new here. Yeah, so with Ivan Drago's kid, who has been rumored for a while, character-wise, that he's going to be a spin-off series after the Creed franchise. And given what I've seen in the training montage that I'll mention in the spoiler section, yeah, I could see a good case. Weird as it sounds. Also, for everyone seeing this after the fact when this video is finally live as far as the reviews go, I'm just coming up on my first viewing from this, my first screening. So again, my opinion might change come later down the road for top 10s of this year. I thought I broke that curse not mentioning it so early in the year yet. There we go. Might as well reset the clock on that one. Anyway, well, that being said, my overall thoughts for the fight itself, now going into the spoilers. Holy shit, it was good. Like, you could tell Michael B. Jordan is definitely an anime fan. You could definitely tell he has anime aspirations for maybe directing an anime someday, or adaptation of an anime. Hopefully done right, given the track record these days, I understand. Don't want to name exactly what I'm headcanon thinking he could do a better job of, because there are other guys that all want to do it too, so if you know what I'm talking about, you know. But for the, I guess, overly compared double knockout, you almost got in, like, I think the second to last round in, Damien's and, Adonis' round. Pretty good. It's actually, like, straight out of, like, the Buu Saga. I'm not even kidding. Oh, speaking of, Dragon Ball, yes, I am very much aware that Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is happening. Yes, I will be probably making a video, getting the game in my old figure ward, Xenoverse figure. For those who remember that figure form back in the day, yeah, that guy has come back. Ace has come back hard if that game comes out anytime later next year. So, I want to get to the preliminary like fights going forward. If I get the guy's name right, he's actually a real boxer in real life, if I remember. They don't have his character name. Crap. Well, for that guy, he was, I guess Creed's, attempt at, like, paying it forward, just like Rocky did, hey, let me give another guy a chance kind of thing. While also booking, a match, his championship debut match, like, this was mostly, like, the first couple acts, like, booking, like, Drago v. this guy. And again, my apologies to the actor. Again, like I just said, I just came off of watching the movie. I highly recommend Kind of Funny's every Creed movie in their Rocky in-review series. Sancho Ruiz came back, live to the new studio to help out with the new movie, and it was awesome. The very fun times, and yeah, Drago. Didn't think he would help him spar in Donnie's case going into the later half of the fight. The training montage, like I said, I think previous Rocky movies and Creed movies, they go the hardest when it comes to training montages. From like 4 on, you could definitely tell they went the hardest. In Creed, they were hard, like they were ready to go day one kind of stuff. Like, here's the energy, here's like the training in like intensity and stuff. Like in Creed 1, it was like, okay, Adonis' first like big heavyweight matchup, and also trying to recuperate Rocky's cancer at the time. If I remember, when I was watching this, my late aunt was battling her first phase of cancer at the time, and it was very motivational for me when I was watching with her at the time. In Creed 2's training montage, how do I say this nicely? To say it was like the unofficial sequel to the Rocky 4 montage, because again, it was finally Adonis versus Drago's kid, and you can tell the weight, the hook, like, seeing the two of them match up back to back with, like, Rocky helping and then Ivan Drago helping out his son in the back as well. It's like, it was very elevated from what you saw from from the last Creed movie. This one, though, on paper, it should have more. I'm very familiar with, like, the Rocky soundtrack bleeding into, like, Creed's, and I like that, like, thematic feel for the last 2 movies. Didn't get that kind of hook till, like, the very end of the match, where you get the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, don't want to get copyright striked. Anyway, but you get the victory thing. You get that in, like, bits, but, like, it's not in, like, the nowadays Legacy sequel, like, piano toning, which is good. However, I still feel like it needed a little bit of, like, a 4K restoration kind of vibe. I don't know. Also, for Bianca in Tessa Thompson's character's case, she's been through a lot these last 3 movies. She went from losing her hearing to being a record-breaking singer-songwriter to now going in the bag, helping out producing, and kind of missing making one more album kind of vibe, which I thought would have pulled off, like, her and somebody else, probably popular, would have helped out making, like, an album track in universe and actually helping out for like a Spotify playlist for this movie soundtrack. But I don't know, something must have miscommunicated along the way. Is it the most disjointed? Not by a long shot. Again, there's the Rocky 5 factor for retro and even old school like Rocky fans know that as the most disjointed of like it has the same kind of theme and element that Creed 3 is trying to be. Here's this guy that's out of nowhere that wants to be like the new Rocky, wants to be his legacy, and his kid is also being troubled in school and wants to like learn to fight just like her, like in Dying Against her dad. She wants to learn the fight just like her dad. And same thing with Creed's actual, no longer with us, sadly, son at the time, Sage. He was actually trying to get into acting just like his dad. And they had to make a whole story arc of him trying to be like the actual next Rocky. But they never went through because this is going off of what I remembered from when I was reviewing another solo movie he did in the 90s. The name escapes me, but he did actually was in that movie with him. And it was the only time he's ever did a movie after Rocky 5 because he died of a heart attack. I think years later, I think in the early 2010s. So again, if I'm off by any of that history, let me know in the comments down below. I'll leave the wiki just in case on Sage's case. So I didn't get that haunting vibe, and I hope that's not going to be the case going forward for this actress. And I don't want it to be like a grim like tradition kind of thing going. I don't want to bring that at all in the Karma life or whatever. Like I don't want to make it a superstitious thing, if anything, when it comes to this video and my review going forward. Ultimately for the Creed franchise, they are good. Like they're near 9s almost all the time when they're new, in my opinion. I think that's when I think if I had time to do actual dedicated I guess graphics or get Mr. K track, because I know he's still looking for editing work. I'll leave his stuff down below because he's been looking for work ever since. I might actually pick him up hopefully someday. But in the meantime, if you're a channel out there, please give him a chance. He's a good editor. And if he was here, I would probably put like all the scores of like the past Creed and Rocky adjacent movies. And it's still a high mark. I know there's some shortcomings. Again, I'm going to forgive it because this is Michael B. Jordan's first time directing. And you could definitely tell that in the final fight with him and Donnie. And when I say they were doing anime stuff, they were like shadowing, like showing like their past selves from the early kid versions of the movie. By the way, shout out to the kid actors who played Majors and Michael Jordan's characters, Creed and obviously Donnie. Damien. They looked great. The full flashback just reminds me so much of the early 2000s. As someone who grew up in the early 2000s, yeah, that is kind of the vibe I'm happy that they went through. Cinematography-wise, it felt very emotional, very crazy. How Damien went to jail for 18 years, you could definitely see the emotion. You could see, like, the highlight of their night before it turned into shit, like, going forward for the next 18 years. And, again, for people who were wanting to hope that Majors was going for more of a Clubber Lang, like in Rocky 3, you get bits of it. You get of him, like, staging stuff. Like, maybe he definitely staged Drago's kid to break his hands so that he could go in and get the shot early. Then he probably attended to. He stayed more time at the compound in Creed's gym, so I don't really know there. There's a lot of like old school Rocky villain mantras kind of stuff. Now that we're past the Drago arc of like the Creed family, now you have to like figure out how to make new people, new villains that either are tied to Donnie or tied to Rocky again. I don't know. It's like it's a give and take, and I like to see that kind of like direction going forward. If Michael B. Jordan's going to continue directing this for Creed 4 whenever that comes out. As for Drago, I'm happy that he's doing, I guess, the reverse effect of what Apollo did in the Rocky series, because Creed's father, Apollo, was the opponent for the first movie, came back to do a rematch in the second movie, and then from like 3 on, he was like his trainer, he was his boxer, he was like his sparring partner too at times, and training montage guy. If you've seen the Rocky 3 and 4 training montages, they're very dedicated to most of Creed's time as a character, Apollo's time as a character of the franchise. And now, I don't know if that's going to be the same case going forward with the Creed now, Ivan Drago family dynasties. So, that's a whole other story. It's very complex. The only thing that got me off the hook, a little disjointed, is the crypto stadium they had to use the majority of these fights. I know it's a Los Angeles, I think at the former home for like the Dodger Stadium for Dodgers fans. Hi, card-carrying New Yorker who knows Yankees and Mets when you can see them, and yeah, wow. Also, they didn't have the Showtime boxing, didn't have like a lot of the premier pay-per-view stuff. It was mostly stuck with like the Showtime pay-per-view companies that work with them now. Obviously, shout out to Stephen A. Smith. Stay off the TV time or weed. I don't know which as far as old school sports ball memes go. But with that all being said, with my final verdict and review and score for Creed 3, I might be calling it early, but 10 out of 10. Again, despite all the shortcomings, like I said, with his review going forward, it's still a winner. I mean, for Michael B. Jordan's first time directing in this franchise, it has the same kind of like hovering shadow that Sly was doing later in the middle half of those sequels, especially in Balboa in '09. But you can definitely tell he has a lot of spirit for that kind of stuff. He can have the spirit for like showing like his like mindset of like an anime style for the sports world. Wants to show like the modern day entrances. Like I know I can't get the guy's name, but like his not really over that, but like very respectful like Mexican heritage, like opening before before Damien takes him out for the belt or in the middle half of the movie was amazing. Was really good, like very theatrical, very, I mean obviously theatrical movie, but like in like the pay-per-view kind of sense. And I don't really know what would be their opponent going forward for either Drago for his spinoff or for Creed 4, but whoever they get next is probably going to be a new person. It's probably going to be somebody that's aiming for like that Logan Paul style kind of like, I'm here for my payday, I'm not here for my championship, I don't give a shit, I'm just in it for the money kind of thing. And that's the style of like villain going forward for either of these fighters out characters going forward in their timeline in their respective series. That would be interesting. That'd be cool to see. And with that all being said, and with my laptop blanking out, yeah, what did you think? Is there anybody in the cast I missed down below? I know Little Duke. I know he got elevated to Main Duke. For those who are old school in the Rocky franchise, Apollo's old trainer. Now his kid is now Adonis' trainer. It's a lot of it's like a poetry thing. Everything rhymes, but in my neck of the woods here, I like to see callbacks come out and flourish. And for a legacy series that pretty much benchmarked a lot of legacy series, this is one of the ones that don't break. You could tell it doesn't break. It didn't fix. You don't fix it if it's really that good. Whatever how you guys feel about like Michael B. Jordan's like direction going forward, you can definitely see a good future going forward for this franchise, and I can still see that, honestly. And so did the box office this weekend as of this recording. So with that all being said, and metrics talk aside, end cards finally coming here. First hand here to my previous CR content in the shorts, and other hand here to, oh yeah, me trying out this new camera angle for my overall thoughts with Chasm now being a Marvel Legends figure. Anyway, sure here to sub the channel down below, notification bell down below for future March Madness reviews. I might as well call that, since if it does turn to a March Madness style for like speed running all these reviews going forward. Because yes, I'm going to try to see Scream 6 later this month. I am definitely going to break out my John Wick figure, obviously, for either a non-spoiler short or definitely a full spoilers review of John Wick Chapter 4. Also, I got Forged the other day, so I'm going to see which franchise makes sense for X-Men characters as far as these bulk of March movies go. And until I guess I do a retro review of the 2000s Dungeons of the Dragons movie for Armor of Thieves this weekend, yeah, I'm going to hold myself to it on this one. Take care, subscribe. This is Retro Care Reviews, and yeah, I kind of miss Stallone, but if he's really that whatever in the back, probably a good call. Anyway, that being said, if any of the cast is watching, I don't know how, but if you do, to Michael Jordan and the cast and crew, you did a great job as usual, and this was another great entry to the Creed franchise. And yeah, ding ding, it was an awesome fight nonetheless.